Hey, Ali, we're going to talk about AI and SEO today because there was just so much interest in the presentation last week when we were talking about the evolution of search engine optimization in 2025. And the audience at that presentation didn't know it, but you do, and that was that I was like frantically asking you questions all weekend long, trying to bone up, learning new terms. And you and I had such a great conversation about it that I just wanted to kind of, emulate some of the questions that had come up. How's that sound to you?
That sounds perfect. Let's go.
Okay, excellent. All right, let's kind of just start out with some baseline glossary terms first. I'm going to hit you with terms. Come back with answers. Tell me where things are overlapping into other areas. But what exactly does AI search include? What different vehicles is that?
AI search really is one of the things that I love about it. It's that it spans across all ecosystems. So you have AI in search engines, Google, Bing. They utilize AI. They have been for some time. You have now AI search engines such as ChatGPT, for example, or Perplexity, and you have AI that is being used and has been used in social media in all the major social media platforms. So
Hmm. Interesting.
all of those really, in some shape or another, do the same thing to
Hmm.
bring answers to people's questions.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you kind of brought the team the other day through Google's new feature where they were talking about they actually have a button for AI now.
Hmm.
Um,
AI mode, yeah.
Now, you just mentioned something new that we didn't even talk about before, and that is that social media channels now have some kind of AI capability in them. What's that look like?
They use and they have been using AI to deliver better results, understand and anticipate what we all want to know about more,
Hmm.
based on our search history, based on trends, based on all of that stuff, and they synthesize all that into their response.
Gotcha. Okay, now before we move on to the next glossary term, would you say that AI search also includes voice search?
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, that's an obvious one too. Alexa, a great example.
Mhm.
Um, Siri, they have been using AI for a long time, and now it's really amazing how far they've come along, even in the last few years, where you had to repeat yourself a bunch of times. And anybody who
Yeah.
has Alexa knows it's constantly getting better, and that
Hmm.
uses AI.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Excellent. Okay. Next term. What exactly is a chatbot?
So chatbots have been around for a long time, as you all know. When you go on a website, there's a little chat bubble, and in the old days, there was a human on the other side. You know, your question
Hmm.
would pop up on a human being's screen, and they would read and answer it. And over
Hmm.
time, more and more of these are now being handled by AI, where AI is trained on a specific topic or a specific website
Hmm.
and can answer a lot of basic and even some more complicated questions. So, as far as this discussion is concerned, AI now is pretty much behind a lot of chatbots.
Gotcha. Okay. So would you also, again, it feels like there's so much, what's the term? There's
Overlap,
overreach, overlap, thank
yeah.
you. Would you say that ChatGPT or Perplexity, are those chatbots also?
Well, those that's a AI search engine basically,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
an answer engine. That's
Okay.
100% AI.
Okay. But you wouldn't call that an AI chatbot necessarily.
I think traditionally, when people think chatbot, they just kind of, it comes back to that little chat bubble on a website.
Gotcha. Okay, great. All right, moving on. A little bit more challenging glossary questions. Structured data. What the heck is structured data?
Structured data, also known as schema, or schema as an implementation of structured data, is
Mhm.
basically a way for us to mark up content on websites so search engines understand context. That's really it. And then search engines have the ability to parse structured data in a way they can't parse regular content. So
Okay.
if you have a recipe and you reference rice, there is a way for us to tell search engines this is a food item versus maybe somebody's last name, Mr. Rice.
I
So in
believe
this
so.
way, we provide context for AI, and the better they understand the context on your website, the better they can deliver results from your website to people who are looking for what you're selling.
So this is a new term that I'm just coming up with on the fly, but would you say that schema markup is almost like a contextual engine producer? I don't know, a manufacturer of context, or it's more of a confirmation of context.
Well, it's a I would say it's a translator of context. It translates context from human readable to machine readable.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's good. Now, you kind of went right to structured data is schema markup. But is it fair to say that not all structured data is schema markup?
There are different implementations of structured data. There are micro formats, for example, that's kind of this is how it started. But schema.org, which is this non for profit consortium, started creating its own vocabulary. And it got so vast and so complex and so useful that everybody started to adopt it. So now, pretty much when you talk about structured data, you're talking about schema markup. It kind of became the first big one to be adopted. So now everybody goes to that type of implementation
Got
for
it. So it's
structured
kind of
data.
like WordPress is so popular that it's kind of
Exactly.
everywhere now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are
Eh,
there are
eh,
there are other ones you can use, but why would you
yeah.
if this
Yeah.
is the one that you're
Exactly.
gonna use?
Yeah. That's the language that they all speak in, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And then shifting gears just a little bit. What about if I use the term machine readable?
So schema is what makes your content machine readable. So once
Okay.
when you apply schema on your website, machines understand context because they understand this vocabulary and they know exactly what you're talking about. A good way of thinking about it is, I think actually someone on our team mentioned this. It's think of talking to AI as a little similar to talking to a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that they can do great and better than us, but when it comes to context, they need a lot of help. So this way, we're giving them understanding of the context of what we're talking about, and and so when we provide that context, then the content becomes machine readable.
Excellent. So it's almost as if a toddler is talking to an adult, the adult is speaking, and there are little thought bubbles that are coming up that are kind of giving clues to the toddler of what the meaning of each of the words
Yeah,
is
very
by
good.
way of a picture or something
Yeah,
like
you
that.
provide specificity so the toddler knows exactly what you're talking about.
Oh wow, that's super interesting, man. And I'm thinking about my French language learning, and how understanding something's context is so much more important than understanding a word or a sound in your native language, right? Okay, so that's pretty. I think we've covered the glossary. Now let's dive in like specifically on schema because that seems to be like the real critical technological barrier that our practices websites need to overcome to be more fluent in AI language. How big of a deal is schema markup for AI search engines?
It's virtually vital. Without it, they you can bet your content is going to be at best ignored, at worst misunderstood or misrepresented. So it's very important to not only have schema applied to your content, but also have it applied correctly. And I think this is where it really is helpful to seek guidance of people who understand schema. It's, as you
Mm-hmm.
said a second ago, it's kind of like a new language.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we can apply schema, some basic formats of it, and it's like you're in a different country and you're just trying to communicate, a few words, but you don't know the whole language. It's very tough. People will
Mm-hmm.
misunderstand you, they misinterpret you, you may not get to where you need to go quick
Mm-hmm.
enough. And so it's important to have not only have schema markup applied, but also pay attention to how it's applied
Mm-hmm.
onto the website.
Okay, and drilling down super specifically on schema markup, can we say schema markup is per page, not per website? Is that correct?
It's per page, correct. You can, on a given website, you can have schema markup applied to one page, but not another page. We don't recommend it. We want all the content to have
Mm-hmm.
context available
Mm-hmm.
for AI, but you can't. You
Yeah,
can't.
but for our clients who all have limited budgets, they should be thinking in about prioritizing which pages of schema markup get accomplished first
Absolutely.
before
If resources are limited, then we recommend you think about what are the pages pertaining to procedures that have the highest revenue potential. Those are the pages who want to be found
hmm
on search engines and on answer engines, and then start there.
hmm right. Okay, good. That's a pretty good overview of schema. Just kind of an offbeat question. How long have we been doing schema at MetaMed now?
Years. Don't ask me to give you exact the number of years because it's been years, but we started applying schema markup um, right around the time that it really started to be talked about in kind of geeky tech circles and
hmm
those those kinds of, and we recognize that there could be a future in which having schema is critical. And actually, when we started, it was so far back, it was really micro formats back then. You
Yeah,
weren't you weren't marking up the entire page. It was specific pieces of information.
just little pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now we apply schema, we mark up the entire page.
Well, Ali, I literally remember where I was sitting with my laptop in a coffee shop reading our promotional plans, and we were introducing the paragraph description of schema markup. And I guarantee you that was not just more than 5 years ago. I'm going to say that was more than 7 years ago that we did
I
that.
think you're right.
Yeah. This is the old we were talking about and executing on AI tactics before it was cool to be calling it AI tactics. And I think you
It's
would agree.
true. You're absolutely right. And I think we were fortunate because now we are seeing those, the content was already prepared for AI, and then AI came, and now we're
hmm
very excited when we see our clients pop up on AI searches as a result of
hmm
marked up content that we have applied years ago.
Yeah, yeah. In addition to, obviously, going back to the topic of our presentation last week, in addition to FAQs and Q&A style copy, additional supporting pages around main pages, or what we call content mapping. It feels like this isn't something new to us. This is something we've been doing way before it was cool to be talking about AI.
Yeah, it's the individual tactics. You're absolutely right. They've been around it. We're constantly tweaking these and adjusting them, and now compared to then, now they're being done on steroids, if you will. The
Yeah.
markups are deeper, the content is deeper. Yeah.
Okay, last question, and then we'll get you out of here. Is it okay for scaling up purposes, is it okay to kind of set and forget what we'll call schema deployment utilities?
This is a great question, and there are plugins, for example, in the WordPress ecosystem where they mark up content on a website. What we have found is that markup is minimal. That markup would have been very useful if we were doing it 5 or 7 years ago. They pick a
Mm-hmm.
few pieces of um, content that is very standard, your name, your address, your organization name, and that kind of stops there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is required now is marking up content of the entire page. And this requires to first read the page, and secondly, have some understanding of the segment you're in. So if in aesthetics, for example, you need to understand the content, and then you can mark it up. You need to know this pertains to the complication, this pertains to recovery, this pertains to how procedure is done, and each of those has its own markup tags, if you will, that have to be applied. There isn't a tool right now that has the ability to do this. So it's this piece of it is very much dependent on having the so-called human in the middle to make sure that the
Mm-hmm.
markup gets done. The other piece of it that is very critical for those who want to undertake this is you also have to worry about other aspects of it, what we call entity linking and ID consistency. If we don't link entities across pages, and if we don't consistently use the same IDs, what you can end up doing is actually confusing the information, and that's the last thing you want to do, is to confuse search engines.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If kind of the motto of a search engine is shoot first, ask question never. When it comes to confusing them, they'll just ignore you.
Mm-hmm.
So it is to use a non-technical term, it's applying schema markup correctly is a finicky business. It's just the way it
Yeah.
is now.
So,
So in
so I
short,
think,
yeah, in short, Brent, the answer to questions, we don't recommend it. We recommend you
mhm,
learn and you do
yeah,
it properly. It's a
yeah.
little bit like doing surgery on your content.
So human intervention, intelligence, thoughtfulness, super important. Don't set it and forget it on autopilot. Um, Ali, we have always prided ourselves on being vendor neutral with education and on telling our client base, hey, you could do this on your own.
Hmm.
But honestly, it feels to me like we've entered into the phase where no, you can no longer do this kind of stuff on your own and be a full-time dermatologist or a full-time plastic surgeon
Hmm.
at the same time. It feels like it would take months to really bone up on SEO and all of the foundational concepts of web development and also
Hmm.
AI in addition to that, along with schema markup
Hmm.
per page done properly. It's almost like our client base could do this, but they couldn't do it well and also still have another life in another profession. I don't know.
It would be tough. I'll say that it would be
Yeah.
tough, very tough to do that.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, well, this is probably even more fun and a little bit more geeky than the conversation we had when I was boning up for the presentation. So thanks for your time, thanks for your expertise, and okay, I'm gonna say the words, man. You were right. I was wrong. We really should have been on it. We should have been on it
Yeah,
early,
I'm
but it
glad we're
turned out
recording this.
you were on it early, independent of what the market was doing. So thanks to you, and really appreciate that you were so thoughtful and you had so much foresight.
We love this stuff. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks.